You know that feeling. A message from an institution lands on your phone and your stomach drops before you've even read the subject line. That feeling used to be about your rent. Now it's about a sentence you didn't understand 2 years ago. Quarterly estimate due Friday. You open it without flinching now. That's the part nobody warns you about. The fear doesn't disappear. It just stops being new. You're 25 now. Your father is asleep 2 towns over, 3 hours from a shift he's worked for 26 years. His paycheck already knows what it owes before he even sees it. Yours doesn't know anything yet. You have to tell it. It started with a folding table at a farmer's market. $40 in supplies, a sign your sister drew in marker. Age 22. Your father drives past on his way to the plant and stops for 5 minutes. He buys a container of chili he's already eaten twice at your kitchen table for free. He hands you a 20. You try to give change back. He waves it off. Keep it. Call it rent for the folding table. You laugh. He doesn't. He means it. You make $340 that first Saturday. It doesn't occur to you that this counts as anything. It's just a table and some chili. Nobody tells you the government already disagrees. Age 23. You file the way you always have. W-2 from your day job. A shoebox of market receipts you don't know what to do with. A guy who does taxes out of a strip mall office looks at it for 4 minutes. Tells you that you owe more than you expected. You made less than half of what your father makes. He says the words self-employment tax for the first time. You nod like you understand. You don't. You pay it anyway. Asking a second question feels like admitting you don't know what you're doing. You're 24 now. The table becomes 3 markets a week. A real canopy. Your cousin on Saturdays. $240 becomes $1,100 some weekends. Your father asks how the business is going at Sunday dinner. Good, you say. Busy. Busy is a number he understands. He's been busy for 26 years at the same plant. Same withholding line on the same stub. He's never once had to ask what he owes. Someone already decided for him before the check reaches his hand. Sitting at his table, you realize you're the first person in your family who has to ask that question at all. The quarterly estimate email arrives for the first time. You stare at it before you open it, the same way you'll stare at everyone after it. The accountant explains it slowly. 4 payments a year now, not 1. Nobody explained this to your father in 26 years. He's never made a single one in his life. The system isn't punishing you for building something, it's just stopped assuming someone else is responsible for you. 25 years old, and you finally understand the email that opened this whole story. If nobody in your family ever handed you a rulebook like this either, stay with this one. The next 2 parts are exactly where it gets handed to you. Subscribe now so you don't lose it halfway through. Age 26. You rent your first real kitchen above a laundromat. Bleach and basil somehow becoming the smell of your whole life now. Your accountant asks about the mixer, the folding tables, the second-hand oven. Those aren't just purchases anymore, he says. They're something that lowers what you owe. You didn't know a receipt could do that. Your father has never once needed one to argue anything on his behalf. Someone else always did that for him before he even walked in the door. Age 27. Your cousin becomes your first real employee. A form with her name on it. You are, on paper, someone who employs another person now. At dinner, your father asks if that's a big deal. You're not sure yet. You go home and can't sleep, running numbers that used to belong to someone else. The rules never changed because you grew. They were always there, waiting for you to be big enough to need them. Age 28. A letter arrives. Not an email this time. Government seal in the corner. You leave it on the counter for 2 hours like it might lose its teeth if you wait long enough. It's a penalty notice. You underpaid an estimate back in the spring by $400 and didn't know it counted against you until now. Your hands are shaking when you call the accountant. He tells you it's fixable. A form, a small fee, done by Friday. You don't feel relieved right away. You feel exposed, like you'd been walking around all year with your shirt on backwards and nobody said anything. Your father has never gotten a letter like that in his life. Nothing he owes has ever been able to sneak up on him, because nothing about his paycheck was ever his to get wrong. You're 29 now. A co-worker of your father's gets let go after 19 years. No warning, a folder and a handshake. Your father goes quiet that Sunday. The plant can do that whenever it wants, he says, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. You think about your name on an employee's paperwork, the penalty letter you fixed by Friday, the folding table that turned into all of this. Nobody can hand you a folder like that. You built the folder. His safety was never really his. Yours is smaller, and it can still send you a letter that makes your hand shake, but it's actually yours. Age 30. Your accountant says the sentence that changes how you see the whole thing. The business doesn't pay less by accident. It pays less because it's built differently than a paycheck is. Your father's income arrives already taxed before he sees a dollar of it. Yours gets shaped first, then taxed on what's left. Age 31. You quit your day job on a Wednesday. No goodbye speech. A manager who says he saw it coming before you did. That last paycheck gets taxed the old way, your father's way. Your first month of business income doesn't. You spend a weekend deciding what the business needs before the year ends, buying yourself out of what you'd otherwise owe. You call your father that night. He goes quiet longer than you expect. Then he asks if you're going to be okay. Not what you'll do next. Just, are you going to be okay? Some safety looks like a shift you show up to for 26 years. Some looks like understanding a system well enough that it stops working against you, even when it occasionally sends you a letter that scares you half to death. Age 32. Tax season. Your first full year with no day job attached to your name. The summary arrives before you even ask for one. You read the number twice. What you paid, as a share of what you made, is smaller than what came out of your father's check every payday of his life. You didn't cheat anything. You built something, the rules were written to reward, and nobody ever handed your father that same rule book. It doesn't feel like winning. It feels like finding a door that was open the whole time, on a hallway he walked past for 26 years without trying the handle. Age 33. Sunday dinner. Your father asks how the year went. You almost say good, busy, the same two words you've used for a decade. Instead, you tell him the actual number. He goes quiet, running the math against his own paycheck. He asks if that's legal. You say yes. He asks why nobody ever told him. You don't have an answer that doesn't sound like an accusation, so you just say, I don't know. The silence isn't angry. It's closer to grief, for a version of his life that could have looked different if someone had shown him the same door. Age 34. Your father retires that spring. 30 years, a small pension, a handshake that means more than the one his co-worker got. He asks you to help with his retirement paperwork. You sit at his kitchen table with the same folder he's carried his whole working life, and for the first time, you're the one explaining the rules to him. He listens the way you used to listen to the strip mall accountant. Careful, a little embarrassed, catching up to something that started without him. You don't feel proud. You feel something quieter, like handing someone a map to a country they already lived in, without ever seeing the roads. Halfway through the paperwork, he stops and asks you a question he's never asked in 34 years. What do you actually do with all of this? Not the chili, the rest of it. You try to explain write-off's structure, the difference between income that arrives already spoken for and income you get to shape first. He nods slower than the accountant ever did, but he nods. At the end, he says one thing. Wish somebody had explained it like that when I was your age? Not bitter, just true. Driving home, you think about the $20 he handed you for chili he'd already had for free. Rent for the folding table, he called it. He was paying for something before either of you knew what it would become. 12 containers cooling on your counter now, for a wholesale order, not a folding table. Your hands still smell like cumin. The quarterly estimate sits in your inbox. You open it without hesitating. Somewhere right now, someone is setting up a folding table for the first time. $40 in supplies and a sign a sibling drew in marker. They have no idea the government is already watching, or that the table is quietly handing them a door nobody in their family has ever walked through. They just don't know it yet.